What's going on, you guys? I hope you guys liked the last week episode. Today, I'm gonna put everything I have taught you guys so far, taper, the fade, and then I'm gonna do a full haircut. So let's hit that intro. Mikey's gonna be our model today.
All right.
His hair is like most Asian hair. It sticks up, it's heavy. A lot of people don't know what to do with their hair. Today I'm gonna show you guys what you can do with your hair if you have hair like this. He doesn't have a lot of time in the morning to get ready and go to school, so I'm gonna give him something that's super easy to style, super quick, that will look good throughout the day. For Mikey, I'm gonna use a number 1, and just because his hair sticks out so much, if I use anything higher than a number 1, it's gonna poof out a lot. And when it poofs out a lot, it just makes the whole head looks a lot bigger than it really is. And a lot of people don't really find that nice. So by taking it down, it just looks a lot cleaner as well. So right now, we're gonna work with the number 1 fade first. So this can be very intimidating because this is short and that is really long. You can't really see your guidelines much, but if you continue down the road that you're supposed to, which means follow the guideline and following your steps, it will turn out exactly how you want it to. So let's just finish the guideline and we'll do the rest. For this particular haircut, I want to do a medium fade because when you go high, you limit of what the top can really be. So try to keep it at a medium first, and maybe next time, or if you guys want to, just go straight up high. This is if the client went and asked you to do what you think looks good, all right, you guys? If the client has something else in mind, just give them what they want. All right, remember what I told you guys last week? After you finish the first guideline, to go in the front and check if both sides are the same. And if they're even, then you're ready to move on. Before all that though, let's clean up this mess right here all over the cave. Keep your workspace clean. Since we did the guideline, we're gonna check. We're gonna check if it's even both sides. I think this side right here is a little bit lower, so I'm gonna raise it up just a little bit. And the way I tell is from this arch right here. If I try to hit it at the point right there, and on the other side, it's right at the point. So now we know that it's pretty much even on both sides. I'm gonna clean up the bottom one more time just to make sure I get every single hair, because he came in with a lot of hair, so you don't wanna miss anything. It matters a lot. So the first guideline is done. Next thing, because we start with the number 1 closed, that means it's the number 1. We're gonna open it now. And when you open it, you're gonna create your next guideline. The next guideline, again, I'm gonna have it about a finger width apart. You know, before I continue, because I feel like for some people, this might be really hard to see. For me, I'm so used to this that I can see everything really easily. I know where all the guidelines are, but I know for some people who doesn't cut hair very often or who's new at cutting hair, it's really hard to tell where the line is or where the guideline is. So I'm gonna take down this hair right here. I'm gonna take this down so you guys can see it a lot better. We are going to use one of my favorite tool, the Octane Oster, right? And we're gonna use a number 2 guard. And I choose the number 2 guard because a number 2 is still pretty long, and it gives me a lot of room to fade. You guys don't have to use a number 2, you can use any number you want. I just chose a number 2 because it's a little bit easier to see for me. Since we've already taken down the bulk, you guys can see the line a lot better. This is the number 1 guard, and now we're gonna open it and clean up that line real fast while making a new guideline. All right, we're gonna do that all the way around. And if you can't see where you're working at, you can always have the client look down. And when the client looks down, it helps you see things a lot better too, because it stretches out the skin, especially in the back. So I know all this looks pretty insane right now, but it will all come together, you guys. Don't freak out, just trust in your steps and everything will come together. Same thing with this side, create your new guideline and then get rid of the bottom guidelines. That is all we're doing right now. That looks pretty good. At this point, if you were cutting some clients' kids' hair, the parents, if they're sitting there, they'd freak out. They wouldn't even know what the heck are you doing to their kids' hair. Next part, clip over comb. This is the part where I clip over comb straight up. And that will give the shape that I want. See how it's already coming together? Now we just gotta do that to the rest of the hair. And this part is only the fading part. We still got the taper to do as well. A lot of people would call this a taper fade. You do a fade and then a taper right after. You guys see this part right here? This is called a cowlick. Everybody has one. Some might have it here, some might have it here, some might have it in the front. Some people even have two of them. It's annoying because it makes the hair sticks up. And especially with Asian hair, because it's so thick, it sticks up all the time. Like, this is gonna be really hard to comb down. A lot of people take this hair right here and they just shave it all the way past the cowlick. Then they don't have to deal with it. But that is completely wrong. Don't shave this all the way up to the cowlick, because if you do, you basically ruin the hair. There's a top part of the hair and there's a bottom part of the hair, right? This is the top, this is the bottom. Once you take the side all the way up, you're creating another haircut that doesn't exist. The shape of it is all ruined. So make sure you don't just take shortcuts by shaving things all the way up to the part, unless the client specifically asks for it. But even if they ask for it, sometimes I recommend them not to do that, and I find a solution for them. That solution, I will tell you guys when we're done with the haircut. But for now, let's continue with the fade and then do the taper, and then we'll cut the top. The haircut's already looking a lot better. We still have a lot of work to do, but just from what we already have done, it looks pretty good. Let's start with the taper. Do you guys remember the steps? We're gonna do about a medium to a medium high on Mikey. If you guys remember, it is about right there. I'm gonna make my first guideline by opening up a 0 and then closing it halfway, and then we're gonna start cleaning up the line on the bottom. And if I need to, I'm gonna bring it back up, open it all the way, and then close halfway again. So I'm just opening and closing as needed. If I'm closing the clipper, then I have to be lower than the guideline that I set. You can't take the close as high as the open, if that makes sense for you guys. So the first line is basically gone. Because this is a number 1 fade, I'm gonna go in and do a half. The style that I'm doing is gonna be my style. I know I showed you guys 2 different ways to do a fade last time, but the taper, I'm gonna do it my way. So that's a 1, this is a 0. I'm gonna hit a half right there, and it should take out that line. And a half meaning the half guard. And I'm gonna start halfway, and then we'll continue on from there. Now I'm adjusting the clipper as I'm cutting. So if I need to go higher, I'm gonna open it all the way, and then if I need to go lower, I'm gonna close it a little bit. But every single time I'm cutting the hair, I'm flicking out. I'm making sure I flick out because you don't want it to be a harsher line. You want it to blend right into the number 1. So just make sure you flick out as soon as you get to the spot you wanna cut. And you guys see how that's coming in together already? That to me, you guys, is looking pretty good already. And this is without lining anything up just yet. There it is, that's the taper. We're gonna now work on the other side, and then I'm gonna work on the back. I always like to do both sides first and then the back afterward. Same thing as the other side, you guys. I'm gonna make this guideline right here, and then we're gonna skin it out and then start the taper. So with this taper, the same as the other side, I open up the 0, then work my way down to get rid of that line that I just made with the T-liner. If you guys haven't noticed already, a lot of fades and taper consists of opening and closing the clipper, and that bottom line already looks pretty good. Now we're back at the half guard again, just to get rid of this line right here. For this area right here, it's a little bit dark, and I know that my half is gonna take it a little bit higher than I would like. So I'm popping back on the 1 guard, which was the fade, and I'm gonna clean up this area with an open 1. And by open 1, I mean opening this part right here. So open 1. And that's already lightening it up, so it looks a lot better already. There you go. I like it. So let's work with the back. So the back is a little bit different, but just follow your steps the same way and it should be fine. I'm gonna have him look down just a little bit, right about there. So it stretches out. So his head was about here. You see how it just created so many other dark lines when this was all a number 1. That's not the line that you left. That's just a number 1 with the crease in the head. So that creates a line. So if you look down a little bit, you see how it spreads out and it doesn't look as dark. When you do that, it'll help you taper a lot better. That's my guideline. See how I'm going down at it as well? So make sure you go down and then up below it. And that's how you don't create a guideline. When you first start, take it slow, you guys. You don't have to go as fast as I am because I've been doing this for a while. I'm going a little bit faster than what you guys would do. So don't worry, don't try to go fast. Just take your time and make sure the taper comes out clean. For this taper, my first guideline right here, because the back hair is a lot thicker than the side hair, my first guideline isn't open. You know how I always tell you that the next guideline should be an open? This time, because it's a back taper, I'm gonna do halfway and then create my guideline. After that, then I'm gonna open it and create another guideline. And I do this because the hair is a lot thicker, so it looks better that I do it such a wide gap. There's my first guideline. Now I'm gonna open it all the way and I'm gonna make my second guideline. Even with this right here, I'm flicking out as soon as I get to that guideline that I want. And then I'm gonna close it a little bit and I'm gonna clean out that bottom line. And that's it. For that right there, some of you guys might be scared. Don't get scared. Just pop on the half guard and get rid of that line. It looks pretty high already because it's skin and just hair. After I took out that line, you guys see, it looks a lot better. It doesn't look like I took the taper super high. And then now I'm gonna line it up and then show you guys the whole thing. Basically, the taper's good, fade's good, and now we're gonna line this up, finish up the top. For this part, I'm gonna line up right about here. See, do you see how his natural line is about there? You can kind of see it. So I'm just gonna hit it where his natural line is. I'm not gonna go higher, I'm not gonna go lower than that. I'm gonna hit it right there, and if you get it right on the natural line, you can see that the line comes out super sharp. If you miss it, it's gonna be a lot lighter than that. And if you go too high, you're gonna see like the lines on the bottom that where it's supposed to be. So if you wanna know you get it right at the spot, you're not supposed to see anything else. All right, this line side is done. Let's move around on the other side and then line this part up too. His natural line is kind of already there, which is kind of cool because it makes my life a lot easier when the person's natural line you can see really well. Sometimes you might not get so lucky. That looks pretty good. I'm not worrying about this part right here because we haven't touched the top yet to worry about this part. We're still working on the side. I'm almost done, so after that we'll move on. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna wet the hair on top. Wetting the hair on top is very important. It makes your life a lot easier when you're cutting it because it sticks together, and it's easier when it sticks together. If you're cutting it dry, it's a lot harder, you guys. So be sure to wet the hair, okay? You see how it's already staying together? That's what you want. I usually wet the hair about that much right there. You see how it's already sticking together and everything is a lot better? So what I'm gonna do for Mikey here, I'm actually gonna leave the front longer for Mikey's hair because it gives you a lot of different ways to style your hair. And as I get to the back, I'm gonna go shorter. When you guys cut the top, make sure you take about 8 to 9 sections before you finish, okay? As in, this is 1, this is 2, all the way up to the back. If you cut the whole top with just 3 sections, it's gonna be messed up. So don't try to cut corners, take your time, cut a bunch of time. The more time you cut, the less you have to cross check. This side right here, I'm combing it down and I'm making it flush with the fade by putting my hand vertical and along the side of the hair to make sure that it's all blended in nicely. I don't want any hair hanging over on this side. I want it all to blend in nicely. And I like that right there. Let's move on to this side. This side I want a little bit longer. And then as I get to the back, I'm gonna cut it and blend it into the side, just like the other side. This side's a lot harder for some people because your hand is awkwardly placed. So if you guys find this a little bit difficult, come to the front, go backward. And when I say cross check, you guys, it means going this way. So first we went this way, and now we're gonna go this way. To make sure you don't see any bumps on the hair, to make sure everything is completely straight across. If it's straight across, that's what you guys want. If it looks like hills on the top of the hair, that means you have done something wrong, as in you didn't take enough cuts going from front to back. So if it's all straight, that means you did a really good job the first time. You don't have to do too much the second time. So you guys see, after we touch the top, you guys see how this goes in and that sticks out a little bit and it goes right back down. We're gonna clean that part up. There it is, it's already cleaned up. This front part, you can also clean up just a little bit there. Remember that one technique I showed you guys the last time we did a fade? Well, this is what it is. I'm gonna do it here as well. I'm gonna put the comb right next to the head and go straight up, making sure the hair is perfectly straight. There's no bumps coming out anywhere. And if that is looking good, that is when you know it's done. I actually go eye level to the head and make sure the hair is completely straight up. Since I'm almost done, I'm actually gonna go around the whole hair and see if there's anything else I need to touch up. If not, I'm gonna go on to the styling. I see this part right here. I want to touch up a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with going back, you guys. You're not supposed to finish it the first time and do a perfect job, because there's no such thing. You just gotta go and finish the haircut, do the last walk around, and then check and touch up whatever you need. Before I let the client out, I uncape the client. Even before I style the hair, I uncape the client because we need to clean this hair up. Don't ever leave this hair there. Don't ever do it. That's the worst. It's just as important as cutting all of this, getting rid of that. And when you guys get rid of this, please do not rush. I've seen so many barbers rush this part. Don't rush this part, take it slow, and make sure that you get every single strand. Don't leave any hair there. It's pretty annoying when a client goes home and check on the hair and then find there's like a bunch of hair left on his neck. It's not a pleasant thing to have. The worst is that if he has to go in there and clean it back up again. Since we cleaned up the back already, that's still not done for me. This is what I usually do, you guys. After I clean up the neck, I make sure there's no hair there. I pull the ear down, and I do this, and I make sure every single little hair is cut back here as well. No hair behind the ears, and on this side too. And no hair behind the neck, all right, you guys? Just make sure those things are gone. Last part, you guys. Last part, not the least. This is so important, styling the client's hair. Blow dryer is a must, brush is a must. Dry the hair before you put product, please. Dry the hair because pomade are water soluble, so you want to dry the hair. Leave it wet, the product gets weak, so dry the hair. Before I continue, I definitely want to mention this. When you are blow drying the hair, blow dry it to the way you're styling it. So if you're styling like a mohawk, blow dry it like a mohawk. This hair, I'm gonna have it comb over, so I'm gonna blow dry it that way. And then I'm gonna blow dry the front up. Exactly how I'm gonna style the hair. I like to make sure there's no hair left on the client's face too, because I just don't like hair on me when I get a haircut. So I'm just gonna treat them the same way. Try not to leave any hair on them after they get a haircut. I wasn't sure what I was gonna do with this part, and I wanted to wait till I style it. But now since I style it, I've decided to cut it. This part right here that's going forward. Don't know if you guys can see it. Let me show you guys. There it is. You guys see how that part goes forward? I'm gonna cut it this time. That's about it. I'm not gonna cut any more than that because you don't wanna make this part shorter than this part. At least not that much shorter because it will look really weird. All right, guys, so this is it. A #1 fade with a skin taper. See that? I love this side. I love the way this looks right here. There, everything's just flush in. There's no part, which is amazing because it's super easy to style when there's no part. And that's the other side. And one last time to the front. Perfect. All right. Did you like the new haircut?
Yeah, a lot.
Good. Remember what he had before? It was super big and very untamable. At least you think it's untamable until you take it down, and then now you know it's possible. We took our #1, fade, medium, and then we did a skin taper, which gives him a really nice fade on the side. And then I barely cut the top because I want the top to be long. That's how you create some style. If I cut it short, he would just have spikes, which isn't very fun to do because that's all you can do. So I didn't put any part. I made it so he can just gel everything over in the morning and head off to school. It'll probably take him about 2 minutes. 2 minutes, you guys. That's all you need. Remember what I told you guys about the cowlick? So this is how you solve it. Turn around for me real fast. Perfect. And look up just a little bit because you're super tall and I'm super short. This is the cowlick right here. You see how it swirls? The way to put it down is to follow the swirl. Don't go against it. Like, don't comb all this thing over it because that's how the hair sticks up. Make sure the swirl is there and then follow it. Then that's all you need to get rid of the swirl. Anyway, you guys, thank you, Mike, for letting me record you and use you as a model. I appreciate it. That's really awesome. All right, you guys, if you guys like this video, hit that like button. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys later.